By Chantal de Silva, Monica Alba, Raf Sanchez and Abigail Williams, as Israeli powers pushed further into Rafah only days after an airstrike ignited a significant fire that killed many Palestinians. The White House said that its partner had not crossed the Biden organization's red line. Israeli tanks were seen entering focal Rafah interestingly Tuesday, as worldwide judgment mounted over the passings in a packed tent camp for dislodged regular folks and as U.S. help conveyances to Gaza via ocean were suspended after harm to its transitory wharf. What's more, on Wednesday, the country's Public Safety Council said he anticipated that the conflict should go on through the year's end. That as it may, U.S. Public Safety Committee Representative John Kirby told journalists at an instructions that the U.S. was not turning a visually impaired eye to Israel's tasks in the southern Gaza city, from which around 1 million Palestinians have escaped as of late. He said the Biden organization didn't really accept that Israel's activities in Rafah so far addressed a significant ground activity that would disregard President Joe Biden's alerts and trigger an adjustment of U.S. strategy, including an undermined end to weapons shipments. A significant ground activity is, a great many soldiers moving in a moved, concentrated, composed way against different focuses on the ground, he said. A U.S. official comparatively let NBC News know that while America accepted the dangerous strike was a terrible episode, it had all the earmarks of being the consequence of an airstrike gone horrendously wrong, and didn't address Israel crushing into Rafah.
Biden told CNN recently, "That's what I clarified on the off chance that they go into Rafah. They haven't gone in Rafah yet. Assuming they go into Rafah, I'm not providing the weapons that have been utilized generally to manage Rafah, to manage the urban areas that arrangement with that issue." Asked by NBC News' Gabe Gutierrez the way in which Israeli tanks seeming to approach focal Gaza didn't address a full-scale ground activity, Kirby said Israeli authorities had kept up with that. Their tanks were moving along the Philadelphia Passageway, a vital key portion of land running along the Egypt-Gaza line, and not in the town legitimate. "That is the thing the Israelis have said," Kirby answered. "We're going in light of everything the Israelis are saying to us and what they're talking about freely and what we're ready to perceive decently well." Kirby's remarks came only days after the Israeli airstrike ignited the fire that tore through the tent camp in Rafah's Tal al-Ruler area, killing no less than 45 individuals including kids, as per nearby well-being authorities. Hala Rarit, a U.S. representative and veteran unfamiliar help official who left the State Division last month in fight over Washington's strategy on Israel's conflict in Gaza, said she felt the Biden organization was presently attempting to squirm right out of this most recent shift on what comprises a red line. The purpose in the president saying populist focuses were a red line is to keep away from mass non-military personnel losses, she said in a telephone interview with NBC News on Wednesday. "Whether they're going in by tanks or it's occurring by means of bombs coming from the air, would we say we are sincerely attempting to beat around the bush?" Satellite pictures show consequence of IDF strike on Rafah tent camp.
The attack on the tent camp has added to growing international pressure after the United Nations top court ordered Israel to halt its offensive in Rafah. The UN Security Council could vote as early as Wednesday on a draft resolution circulated. Algeria ordering Israel to immediately stop its offensive and demanding a ceasefire in Gaza, according to the Associated Press. Bassem Naim, a senior Hamas official, told NBC News on Tuesday that Hamas had not received any proposal from the mediators. In a briefing Tuesday, Israel Defense Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Israel was still investigating the Rafah strike, including what caused the fire that he said resulted in this tragic loss of life. He said the IDF fired two 17-kilogram, 37.5-pound, warheads targeting two senior Hamas militants, but he said somehow a fire was ignited, adding that the blaze was unexpected and unintended. He suggested the possibility that weapons stored in the area targeted might have ignited the fire, but said that was an assumption at this point. An Israeli official and U.S. official separately told NBC News it was possible a fuel tank was struck, igniting the blaze.
Bassem Naim, a senior Hamas official, told NBC News on Tuesday that Hamas had not received any proposal from the mediators. In a briefing Tuesday, Israel Defense Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Israel was still investigating the Rafah strike, including what caused the fire that he said resulted in this tragic loss of life. He said the IDF fired two 17-kilogram, 37.5-pound, warheads targeting two senior Hamas militants, but he said somehow a fire was ignited, adding that the blaze was unexpected and unintended. He suggested the possibility that weapons stored in the area targeted might have ignited the fire, but said that was an assumption at this point. An Israeli official and U.S. official separately told NBC News it was possible a fuel tank was struck, igniting the blaze.
Asked during Tuesday's White House instructions the number of burned bodies Biden expected to see prior to evolving strategy, Kirby said he took offense to the inquiry, saying, "We would rather not see a solitary, more blameless life taken." The IDF has pursued a months-long ground hostile in Gaza during which in excess of 36,000 individuals have been killed. As per the Gaza Well-Being Service, Israel sent off the hostile following Hamas' October 7 fear assaults, in which around 1,200 individuals were killed and nearly 250 others kidnapped. As per Israeli authorities, nearly 125 individuals are accepted to stay held in Gaza, with around a third accepted to be dead. On Wednesday, public safety consultant Sachi Hanegbi said on Israeli radio that, "We actually anticipate an additional 7 months of battling this year to extend." As the obliteration of Hamas' legislative and military capacities, without setting a stopwatch for ourselves, Biden's admonition over the U.S. red line, is suggestive of previous President Barack Obama's own utilization of the expression in August 2012, when he gave an admonition over the utilization of compound weapons in the Syrian nationwide conflict.